All right, everybody, welcome back to the 12's podcast manga react section. We're here. Sorry for the last video if it was a little bit tweaked up, but it was something I was trying a little bit different. On top of that, we did have problems with my PC, so I had to get it out still. Wanted to make sure it was still good, so I gave you guys a lot. If you enjoy that style, let me know. I'll start implementing a lot more into the videos, of course. But without further ado, let's get right into the cover art. So the cover art, great cover art. Starting off, we get to see that Juri Bonnie's mother and father, aka Kuma and GINNY or GINNY, are sitting here catching salmon. And GINNY's, of course, on the grill. Kuma's in the water, and they're just going back and forth. He's just slapping the fish to get them inside there with townsfolk behind him. It's really wholesome to see them together, to see something good come from Kuma. So the chapter starts off 30 years in the past, 8 years from the God Valley incident, though. So, of course, we have a 17-year-old Kuma who is a Pastor Bartholomew Kuma. And, of course, they're inside the Sabur Kingdom, inside the South Blue, living a happy, comfy life. Him being a pastor of the church is helping out a lot of elderly people who come into his church, and he's taking the pain away from them. He's using his paw fruit powers to extract all that pain that goes on throughout the week of the elderly people working. And as she's sitting there talking to them, she's talking crap to all the elderly. And the men inside there are saying, "Quit flapping your gums. This isn't a nursing." Well, she says to them, "Quit flapping your gums. This isn't a nursing home." And the men are telling her that they'll wash her mouth out if she wasn't such a cutie pie. And then they go, "Oh, none of them have a chance with Kamachi here," talking about all the guys that should be going out there trying to get attention and trying to marry her. But they're saying that, can't get married yet. Well, then there's other men out there. Go ahead and go after them. I wish you could have a chance there. And the men are talking about fat chance because Kamachi's here. Because Kamachi's there, they're saying that, "Oh, you have such a kind face." He's comfortable on the eyes. And he's telling them, so he's saying everybody is so kind to him. And GINNY gets upset because we all know by now she has a huge crush on him. And she goes, "You're the one who's too kind." But of course, everything is going bad because all the tax are going up. They have to pay more and more now. A lot of people are serving sentences inside jails until they die, basically, because of just how worse things are getting because of the new king. King Bakori, of course, they say he's a cold-hearted monster, and he's hell-bent on paying tribute. So no matter what it takes, he wants to pay that tribute to the celestial dragons. He's a suck-up, basically. He's just the average jerk that's put inside power that will do whatever it takes to keep the people at the bottom, but have them pay a lot more on top of that. But of course, the kingdom, the king is going strong. And he's a fucking cheapskate for, in all honesty, he's a cheapskate. And he's saying that he would bend over backwards for celestial dragons. They're just talking a bunch of stuff about him. And as they go on, they keep saying that as long as we're in good health, I hope we can stay in good health so that, we don't get killed, basically. Kuma's out here just helping people. He's healing them. He's getting them the treatment that's needed to be so that they can keep working. And he's telling them all every week, "Please come back to me. I'll fix you up. Don't worry about your pain or anything like that at all. Just leave the rest to me. Your pain, your illnesses, anything of that nature. Please visit me every week." And he sends them off by their day. But little did we know that such a nice guy that Kuma is, every day, every Sunday, that he takes all that pain and agony away from the elderly people. He leaves the paw imprint there. The paw imprint is the same exact thing that we seen when Zoro just took a little bit of Luffy's pain and it went through his body, and then he took all of Luffy's pain. This is Kuma going through this agony every single Sunday. Once they leave and they're all healed up and they're healthy to go, they walk away, and he walks right inside there and takes all the pain away from the elderly people that he's extracted from the day. And of course, it leaves GINNY on the floor crying, and Kuma has to get healed up after this. And she's just crying. She's telling him that, they have no idea that you're taking on any of their pain, Kamachi, and you do this every single week. And Kamachi says it can't be helped. If someone doesn't shoulder the burdens, that pain and suffering, that won't disappear. So he has to take it and get rid of that pain and suffering. Now, as GINNY is in there, she's healing him. Everything's going smooth. You know, they're smiling now. They say that they have food that came. And of course, we all know that GINNY loves food. She's a gluttony just like her daughter. And she goes, let's eat up. It's dinner time. They're in a happy mood after she's done healing him. Then we jump forward a few more years. We jump forward 5 years, just 5 years from the present timeline of where we're at. So GINNY goes, hey, Kamachi, let's get married. And he immediately freaks out. We know that he's digging her as well, but doesn't want to say it too much. But he goes, what the hell is, she goes, what the hell's with that reaction of yours? You love me, right? Just admit it. You do. And she goes, wouldn't it make you happy? And he starts stuttering. I'm sure it would, but thing is, and he has the thought in the back of his head, because we all know that his bloodline is of the Buccaneer race, and with his father going through all that pain and suffering, Kuma doesn't want GINNY to go through the same exact thing. He goes, you know what? I don't want to make you unhappy. Basically, he's trying to save her from the hurt that he watched his mother and father go through, that he went through, you know, being a half normal, half Buccaneer race, which technically means that Bonnie Jury is a 25% Buccaneer race. But he goes and he's reading the paper. Kuma wants to change the subject. He goes, look at this, another article about the freedom fighters. The freedom fighters, of course, are those that's been going around trying to start a revolt against unjust kings inside countries of need. And of course, we're talking about Dragon here. They finally put a bounty out for him, but Kuma looks at him and says, he's so cool. He's like a hero. And one day he wants to go out to sea and dedicate his life to saving people as well. Kind of very similar to what Dragon does. And as they do that, they get a knock on the door, and it's a big hello welcoming party to them. And GINNY are sweet. Oh, it's a bunch of men that's there. They're all there today. And so we had a massive haul today that bring a bunch of fish over. And they say, take as much fish as you want. And of course, they're trying to flirt where they're flirting with her. And Kuma's like, thanks for the fish. And she throws the bucket at him, the basket at him. He's basically oblivious to it, but she knows what's going on. So 22 years ago, something major happened. People you've kidnapped, let them go. These are what people are saying to Kuma now. So of course, people are sitting there saying, hey, what are you talking about? You know, save us, Kuachi, save us. You know, you big oaf. You're trying to do something to her. You're picking a fight with the royal armies. That's treason, you know. So they're trying to throw him into jail, basically, and put him into slavery. Because the current king does not want Kamachi to keep healing these elderly people. There's a new law that was passed down. And one of the henchmen sit there and say, hey, pastor, didn't you hear about the new law? We're allowed to do whatever we want to people of the southern, we're allowed to do whatever we want to the southerners. And he says, you're planning on enslaving them? Question mark. I won't let this pass. And he blasts them all away. Kamachi sits there and he let loose a giant power blast that separates people away. And then all you hear is, he's a rebel. Take him down. So of course, Kamachi's going to end up going to jail because that's treason towards the actual current king. And now he has to suffer for that. So of course, the new policy that is intact have to grow accustomed to this. There's something that goes without saying. He comes on to see the king, kind of similar. He has this thought in his head to what happened when Sabo was a kid, and Sabo, Ace, and Luffy were kids, and they were at Great Terminal. This is what we're looking like again, except these are all elderly people. This king wants to no longer be one full country. He wants to split the country in half. He wants to have the north side, which is the king's, the castle town. Castle town is going to be the kingdom of Sabaret. And of course, where Kuma's church is in the old folks village, that's going to be the lawless land where anything can go, anything is possible. There's no holds bars for anybody there at all. But we look around, we see that Kuma's inside jail. Of course, Bonnie's in jail. Not Bonnie. Of course, GINNY's in jail as well. And he asks her the question, tell me, what made them arrest you too? She goes, we raised one hell trying to get you out and free you, Kamachi. And of course, the men that's there that, are there, of course, following the liege. They said, but hey, in the end, they gave us a thrashing. King Bakuri is a celestial dragon puppet. And the new policy gives him so much freedom to just say he's on his high horse now. And then we hear a big ass kaboom go on inside there, and it says, "Who are you guys? Your Majesty, we must flee." So people are coming right now. And all you hear is, "As if we would let you escape this, is what you get for wannabe celestial dragon." And all you hear is, "You make me sick." And if you look at the silhouettes, the silhouette outlines two people that, of course, we know. One person, by the way he talks, is Ivankov. And the other person that we know by the hair is the other person, of course, is Monkey D. Dragon. And we see that the king has been overthrown. His slavery and laws are no more. Thank goodness. People are so happy now. They're cheering on because the king was beat. As they walk through the country and they open the doors up to the jail cell, they say, "All you hear is Kuma, GINNY. I see if you're going and gotten yourselves caught, huh? Lucky for you, I was in the neighborhood." And of course, they look on and say, "No way, it's Big Bro. It's Eva-chan." And of course, they walk out, and the guy next to him standing is the person who Kuma idolizes because of the way that he goes by and frees people. It's none other than Dragon finally walking up. And Dragon and Eva are sitting there looking on, and they look at Kuma and say, "How about you come change the world with us?" And they take on a new member. The Revolutionary Army this band of people that's going around, this organization of freedom fighters that's going around, gains new fighters. It didn't take long for the two pillars, this movement, to become three. As Dragon and Ivankov recruit Kuma to their call, the organization would adopt a new name, one that echoes around the world: the Revolutionary Army. And of course, we hear the hee-haw coming from Eva as soon as they get their new members. And we see that GINNY joined as well because she said, "Count me in too. I want to help." She wants to go wherever Kuma's going because she's seen the work that Kuma does. And as we go forth, we see that, they're working hard. They're going through and doing things that they should be doing. They're freeing and being the Revolutionary Army. They're causing a revolt to nations that need to be revolted against. The kings and the corrupt members that want to appease the celestial dragons are getting taken down finally. And Dragon tells them that all our recruits get weapons. They get trained on them and it gets drilled inside their heads. And of course, that goes to have people thinking, well, Dragon, who taught you how to use weapons? What was it like for you growing up, Dragon? Where did you learn about these? And Dragon says, "I spent time in the Navy. Unfortunately, he found no justice. The Marines or revolutionary. Dragon is a man determined to help other people. You could rely on me, Dragon," is what Kuma says. And Dragon just looks back at him and says, "You won't regret joining us." And as they take off, they're having a party right now. As they come outside, Kuma looks back and says, "We'll be back." And we all know that he is the man who wants to help other people. So Kuma is sitting there looking on, and he's just smiling away and says, "You can rely on me, Dragon." And Dragon just returns and says, "You won't regret joining us." And then 8 years passed. Again and again, the sun rose and set like normal. Until one day, 14 years ago from the current timeline, in a certain kingdom, we get a cutaway to what's going on. And GINNY-san is sitting down with her weapon in her hand and her people around her. And she's now the captain of the Revolutionary Army's Eastern Forces. And the person sitting across from her says, "You look very excited." And she just goes, "Of course I am," as she has a piece of chicken inside her mouth with the bones sticking out, looking more and more like Bonnie each day. She says, "Can you blame me? We're getting closer to the day that we can link up with Kamachi's squadron." And she's so happy that she can barely breathe. And then we get to see that all the men are, of course, jealous. That lucky dog, Kuma. Captain Kuma's a lucky guy. He won the heart of the lady that we all admire. And she goes, "Huh, you creeps admire me? Ugh, that's gross." And then we cut away from there. And we go back to the Revolutionary Army's headquarters, of course, in Baltigo, in this emergency. Dragon-sama. Dragon looks on the side concerned of what's going on. And all you hear is, "GINNY's been captured. The enemy took us by surprise. Please forgive us." It's disturbing news for Dragon, of course, because Dragon did not want to hear that. And of course, we all know that Kamachi is going to go ahead and try to save GINNY, because since she's taken care of now, that's his girl. He has to go save her. Then we end off on that note right there, where we get a nice little cliffhanger. We get to see that it's all love that GINNY has for Kuma. Kuma's obviously oblivious to what's going on with everything, but it's all love. It's a very good thing of, it's a very similar situation to what goes on between Luffy and Boa Hancock. How Boa is just so in love with Luffy, and Luffy plays the oblivious game because he just wants to be free and be happy. This is kind of similar. This is kind of what's going on at the same time with Kuma and GINNY. And of course, I'm glad we get to see that finally the backstory for Dragon, who was a Marine at one point in time. I'm pretty sure he was a Marine only because Garp was a Marine and Garp drilled into his head, and that's why Garp wants his whole family to be Marines and then go find their own pathway. But it makes you wonder, what was Dragon's rank? Was he a vice admiral? Was he a rear admiral? Was he an admiral in general? Was he a commander, a captain, a lieutenant? What was the rank of Dragon? I do want to get more behind that now, since this is all coming out finally. And GINNY is looking more and more like Bonnie every day. You see the pink hair. You just see the way that she dresses, the way that she acts. It's all giving Bonnie vibes. So you know this is Bonnie's mother, of course. And I wonder what happens next. Like we're gonna obviously get to see it, but I can't wait for this to happen. We don't have any breaks, of course, so that's a good thing. So what happens next? Will Kuma ever tell Bonnie about the story of her mother? Did GINNY die when Bonnie was born? Is she still alive? Probably not. She's probably not alive at all. Now I'm thinking about it, of course. She's probably gone, and she could be alive and just off still doing Revolutionary Army thing, or she could be captured and done in. So hopefully we get to see what happens next with that. That's very interesting, of course. But the chapter is amazing. It's a good read. We came through. We finally get to see some more backstory. I'm actually liking this cutaway that we have from Egghead Island and getting to see all these backstories, because now we're getting hit with them. We're getting hit with all of this. And to see Dragon, a young Dragon, and how he actually started his Revolutionary Army. Of course, we knew that Eva was, second in command. He was brought on second. And to see that now the third captain that was brought out there, of course, or the third, I guess, top person that's out there is Kuma. So Kuma, Kuma, Eva, Dragon, GINNY, like to see that they're going around and just saving people is amazing. Then it's what struck me is that it's somebody that's there that has on Sabo's hat with the goggles mix. It's a woman there. That looks very interesting. I want to see who she is, what her backstory is, things. And then it's another guy on a far side that looks like a Sanji type-ish character. He's holding a sword in his hand with black gloves. I'm assuming it's black gloves. None of them. I'm assuming all of them have on gloves, and none of them are just wearing hockey. So yeah. So they all have on black gloves. They all have on gloves in general. But you can look at this squad that Kuma built, and a lot of faces or styles you see now inside his army as well, or see throughout of the One Piece world. But leave your thoughts and comments below. I don't want to keep on going on. I'm going to come back to the chapter and break it down some more to go from there. Some things I probably missed, of course. But let me know what you guys thought. Of course, if you're rocking with it, please hit the like button. Hit the subscribe button. Hit the share button, of course. Drop a comment down below. Who's your favorite? Comment below what you think Dragon's rank would have been in the military. And when he's in the Navy, what would his rank have been? I want to know this now. Until next time, 12 signing off.